Look at all these people here. Oh, my golly. Okay, we're going to call to order the Winnetka Village Council regular meeting for July 15th, 2025. I'd ask that we all mute our cell phones and other electronic devices so we don't interrupt the flow of the meeting. And I'll ask our village manager, Rob Bahan, to do a roll call for attendance.
Thank you. Trustee Handler?
Here.
Trustee Albinson?
Here.
Trustee Orsic?
Here.
Trustee Dahlman?
Here.
Trustee Apatoff is absent, and President Dearborn.
Here. Trustee Myers has provided the required notice that he is unable to attend tonight's meeting due to a family or other emergency. Our rules provide that Trustee Myers may participate remotely unless 2/3 of the board objects. Is there any objection? Hearing none, Trustee Myers may now participate remotely fully in this meeting, and the minutes should so reflect. And I'll ask Rob to call Trustee Myers for attendance.
Trustee Myers.
Here.
Okay, and we'll now go into the Pledge of Allegiance. And Trustee Dahlman, would you mind leading us? Thank you. Rob, let's do a quorum check for the August meetings.
Okay. So the August 12th study session is canceled, so we're looking at August 5th and August 19th. Are there any conflicts? Okay.
I will be gone the 19th for college drop-off of the baby.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. We'll go to item 4, public comment. I'd ask if anyone in the audience wants to speak about an item not on tonight's agenda. And I think there's one person. Come on up, Ted.
Yes, hello. Very busy. Made time to come here. Other things I'll get to. So yes, there are 3 comments. One's actually an agenda item, but you don't usually take comments. I'll leave that for the end. So I may go over a little over 3 minutes. But so first, I wanted to touch base. I thought it was I have to say, it's just funny to me, right? Here, we're all about sustainability. We vote for sustainability. We're going to do things about sustainability. And I guess that is as close to nothing as possible. Because in the newsletter, there was just a note, hey, if you want to put up solar panels, that's all gotten canceled. Because, in 20 years, we will be a relic, as one commentator called it, a museum of coal-fired power plants as the rest of the world moves on to electricity and sustainability. And so, yeah, that's great. We put a little notice to tell people that it's all going away. When you could have actually done something. You could have just said, hey, you know what? If you're on the fence, you got a few months, we will go to net metering before the end of the year. We will do that. But that would actually require doing something. Anyway, it's kind of funny to me that that's our sustainability pledge, to tell people about things that are not happening any longer. So then the other thing is, I don't know if you've been down to the beach, but it's interesting to me. First of all, the 205 Sheridan people, claim state land, and our police department and our village gives them that authority and says, oh, it's private property, even though it is clearly not. We allow them to have a fence up that is clearly not legal by any stretch of the imagination. And if you want to talk about things that cause safety concerns, that fence does. And now, all the village has to do is go down to the Lakeshore 205 and they can just look and see that the built structures there are in violation of the permit that is issued. You don't have to be an engineer to see a 4-foot drop that isn't there. Okay? Go out there and look. The sand goes right up to the lip of the steel groin on the south end of that property. Look at the permit. The permit shows that sand should be down 4 feet from the top of that groin when it gets to the breakwater. But I guess we don't care about that because, after all, who's important here? It's not the public. It's the guy that owns 205 Sheridan. We want to let him do whatever he wants. And there was also this line of armor stone boulders that were, according to Mr. Banal, temporarily placed there. And it seems like those have just been buried under sand too. So there's a line of rock that wasn't permitted in front of the property, which probably to a lesser or greater degree is on public land, was in the water of what was Lake Michigan. But hell, we don't need to tell him that that wasn't allowed. We'll just let it go because we can arrest people for trespassing on public land because he's unhappy about it. Well, the other thing is I noticed that we're back to the closed session meeting minutes, and I noticed that we still will not release the allegedly only discussing the price for the, I'm going to go a few seconds because that's like a consent agenda item, which you don't usually get comments for. We're not going to release those because, you know, that was only about setting the price for a bit of village land, which we just gave away for no benefit. And yeah, the emails show that village staff knew that the council had already decided to give that sidewalk away before it was ever publicly introduced. But we want to keep those meetings from 2021 secret still. I just wonder what smoking, how bad could those meeting minutes be to still be secret 4 years later? I mean, I'm sure they were sanitized. There's probably nothing in them, but we'll keep them secret because, hey, it would look bad if we actually showed that this was a done deal before it ever was public.
Anyone else like to participate in public comment? Seeing none, we'll close public comment and we'll move on to reports. And we'll start with trustees. How about at this end? Trustee Handler.
Yes, I do have a report. As you all know, I'm the liaison to the newly named Environmental, Forestry, and Sustainability Commission, and they had their meeting the other week, or last week. Some new members, got a lot done, talked about both some longer-term and strategic ideas that the commission's going to look at and some shorter-term. One of the things we did do is form a subcommittee comprising of some village staff, 2 members of the commission, and myself, to fast-track some of the ideas that they have about electrification for residents, and specifically installing solar power in residents' homes. So we're going to be looking at potential changes to our zoning, permitting, and other processes. We're going to be comparing it to what other communities around us are doing. We don't want to reinvent the wheel if there's some good learnings from some of our neighbors. In the meantime, it's important for residents to know, especially I think we all know that some of the tax credits are expiring at the end of the year, that we do have a process in place now to put solar power in residents' homes, and the village staff are sort of ready to work with residents to achieve what they'd like to do in their home. So I'm excited about this subcommittee. I think, again, it's going to fast-track some ideas that the commission has and the staff have.
Great, Kim. Thanks for leading the charge on this one. Appreciate that. Kirk?
No report.
Bridget?
I have a report. Trustee Apatow and I are the lakefront liaisons with the Winnetka Park District, and over the past month, we've had 3 productive meetings with the Winnetka Park District lakefront liaisons to discuss what progress can be made on several lakefront issues. The immediate goal for both the village and the Park District is getting Elder Beach fully open to swim. Timelines have been put in place for the Park District debris cleanup in the water, removal of the broken metal grates at the end of Elder Pier, and the village repairing the stormwater outfalls pipe under the pier. We are planning this will all be completed by mid-August. We are discussing potential paths forward with lakefront plans after reviewing feedback from zoning and planning. We appreciate very much having these open-minded discussions with the Park District on the best path forward for our residents' safe enjoyment of our most valuable public resource, Lake Michigan.
Great, Bridget. Thank you and Rob for having those meetings and moving this ball forward. That's terrific. Trustee Dahlman.
Yeah, and Trustee Apatow and I are, I guess it's liaisons to the Hubbard Woods District, for the lack of a better term. I don't know if that's the official term. And Rob and I met last week and walked the district, became familiar, and talked about just generally the health of the district. This is a little bit of a segue, and you probably saw this, but for the benefit of the public, we only have 3 retail spots in the village that are really vacant and are actively being marketed. So we have a lot of vital businesses, and as we talk about streetscape and Hubbard Woods, we're very mindful of, keeping those concerns in mind for the retailers and the businesses.
Great. Well, we have an agenda item tonight that's very important to Hubbard
Yes.
Woods.
Yes.
Which we're
And
excited
we'll
about.
talk about that, too.
We'll talk about that as the night goes on. Trustee
Very exciting.
Myers, report?
No, no
No
report.
report. Village attorney? No report. Village manager?
Sure, I'll have a report. But thank you, President Dearborn. After 15 deeply fulfilling years as serving as village manager of Winnetka and more than 36 years in the field of city management, I've made the decision to retire at the end of September of this year. Public service has been my life's work and passion, and serving as your village manager has been the most meaningful chapter of my professional career. The opportunity to lead this exceptional organization, to work alongside such dedicated staff and elected officials, and to serve this remarkable community has truly been an honor. Over these past 15 years, we have faced challenges and celebrated successes together, whether it was strengthening our infrastructure, developing vibrant business districts, guiding long-range planning initiatives, enhancing our financial stability, or responding to unforeseen events. I've always been inspired by the professionalism and integrity of this organization. We've worked collaboratively to make Winnetka stronger, more resilient, and well-positioned for the future. I want to express my deepest gratitude to President Dearborn and these trustees for your support. It means a great deal. And to the 3 prior village presidents I've had the honor to serve with, Jessica Tucker, the late Jean Grable, and Chris Rintz, as well as the many village trustees who have volunteered their time, brought their expertise to the table, and worked consistently in the best interests of the community. Your trust and support have meant more than I can say. To the staff and the department heads, thank you. You are the professionals who serve this community with quiet excellence every day. Your commitment to public service, doing good work, and being open to innovation is what makes Winnetka such a strong and well-respected organization. It's been an honor to lead and to learn from you. And finally, I want to thank the residents and the business owners of Winnetka. This community is so special. Your engagement, your expectations, and civic pride are unparalleled, and it's been a privilege to serve you as well. While I look forward to the next chapter, I remain fully committed to supporting a smooth and thoughtful transition that begins in earnest tomorrow and will continue in the months ahead and into next year. I look forward to working closely with Kristen Kazinas, our new village manager, staff, and the council on the important projects and initiatives that are before us. There will be more time for goodbyes and reflections over the coming months, but for now, I simply just want to say thank you and to reaffirm my commitment to supporting a smooth and thoughtful transition as the village prepares for the next chapter of its history. And thank you so much.
There will be plenty of time and plenty of accolades along the way, but suffice it to say, when you walked into this building 15 years ago, there was deep respect immediately that you engendered. And if we think about history, what's gone on over the past 15 years, there's a lot that's gone down the pike. And you've been a steady force representing this village, supporting this village, and doing great work, and we're deeply appreciative of that. So thank you. We're also very appreciative and have great gratitude that we have a wonderful village manager to succeed you. And we're very excited about that. Kristen's been with the village for 5 years and has served in a number of capacities, done some great work. More on that to come as well, but we're very excited about Kristen coming in and making this transition a really strong one for the community. You have our unanimous support across the board here to make that happen, including supporting you, Kristen. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Village President, I actually do, sorry about all the reports tonight, but I do have a report. And I just wanted to take a few minutes to bring the council up to date on various meetings that I've had over the past couple of months. The first set of meetings is sort of in the interest of fostering good working relationships with our sister jurisdictions in Winnetka. I've met with the presidents of the Winnetka Northfield Library Board, Laura Freechek, the New Trier High School District Board, Jean Hahn, and the Winnetka Park District Board, Elise Gibson. I've had 2 one-on-ones with Elise and 1 with Rob just last week, and Shannon Izal, and they've been all very productive meetings. And so I also plan to meet with District 36 President Dan Waters before too long. And from there, the hope is to gather everybody periodically to get together, share ideas, understand each other's priorities, see where we might be able to work together collaboratively, and just move this village forward, because we're, after all, representing the same constituents. And so the idea here is to have all 5 of us get together and share the thoughts on what we're up to. With a kind of a similar purpose, I've also met with the presidents of Kenilworth, Cecily Kaz, and Glencoe, Howard Royne, and we're going to put together a group of regional presidents with the respective managers of the villages, including Wilmette and Northfield, and also get together a couple times a year or so to see what we might be able to think about doing collaboratively on a regional basis. So we've got the local groups, we've got the regional presidents, and I can tell you that my meetings with Cecily and Howard Royne and Glencoe, who we already have relationships with, and Chief Ripka's here, and he knows about those for sure, as does Chief O'Connell. They're very enthusiastic about getting together and seeing what we might be able to, further in terms of our collective efforts. Recently, Rob and I met with our U.S. House Representative, Congressman Brad Schneider, who's been a true supporter of Winnetka. Brad, terrific representative for sure. And we've asked him for a little bit of help to try to secure this $21 million FEMA grant that we have in the pipeline. And our Chief Financial Officer, Tim Sloth, is going to be interested in whether we're able to get that done or not. But Congressman Schneider pledged his support to try to move that along and see, how we can possibly get that unlocked, if you will. Congressman Schneider is also responsible for sponsoring a $900,000 plus grant for Green Bay Trail work. More on that hopefully in 2026, but he's well aware of that and very supportive of the trail, which he uses himself on a regular basis. Yesterday, Rob and Kristen and I met with our Illinois State House Representative and the House Majority Leader, Robin Gable, who has also been a very strong supporter of Winnetka over the years. Leader Gable was instrumental in securing our stormwater grants and pledged to assist in releasing the final DCEO grant of $5 million. Hopefully, that will be well in process by year end, and that will be part of the 2026 budget in terms of moving some stormwater activities along. So, Tim, we're working on that as well. A few weeks ago, I met with Rob again, with our Cook County Commissioner, Scott Britton, and then prior to that, Tim and Rob and I met with Cook County Assessor Fritz Kagi, just talking about issues where the county and the assessor kind of bear on Winnetka, and they're all, truly supportive, and these are people that I think we can turn to when we have needs, because they understand this community and they understand what we're trying to accomplish here. So lots going on, and a lot of coffee, breakfast meetings, so it's a good thing. So anyway, that's the end of my report. We'll move on to item 6, establishment of the consent agenda. Does any trustee wish to remove any other item on the consent agenda for a separate vote? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the final form of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
And that's a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 No nays? Scott, does aye? Good, thank you. Now we'll move to the approval of the consent agenda. And Rob, if you could read the consent agenda items.
Certainly, thank you. Approval of the Village Council minutes for June 17th, 2025, regular meeting. Approval of the warrant list dated June 27th, 2025 through July 10th, 2025 in the amount of $1,545,072.23. Ordinance number M7, 2025, implementing a municipal grocery retailer's occupation tax and a municipal grocery service occupation tax to replace the existing state tax for introduction and adoption. Resolution number R53, 2025, approving closed session minutes, determining the need to keep minutes of certain closed meetings of the Village Council confidential, and authorizing the destruction of verbatim recordings of certain closed meetings of the Village Council. Resolution number R60, 2025, waiving bidding and approving an agreement with Dunnett Bay Construction for Elm Street structural repairs. And resolution number R61, 2025, approving a contract extension for the interim economic development coordinator services.
Okay, thank you. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda by omnibus vote?
So moved.
Second.
And that, Rob, is a roll call vote.
Thank you. Trustee Dahlman?
Yes.
Trustee Orsick?
Yes.
Trustee Alvinson? Yes. Trustee Handler?
Yes.
Trustee Myers?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And we'll move on to item 8, ordinances and resolutions. And we're now going to move into the Hubbard Woods area. Tina? Ordinance number M09-2025, granting a special use permit and a certificate of appropriateness for the renovation of the existing Hubbard Woods train depot and train platform and the construction of improvements within the R5 and R3 single-family residential districts and the C2 General Retail Commercial District of the village. That's 1065 Gage Street, the Hubbard Woods Metra train station. And this item is being proposed for introduction and possible adoption. The applicant is proposing renovation of the existing Hubbard Woods train station. In addition, the applicant is proposing construction of various external improvements to ensure compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act. Our Community Development Director, Scott Mangum, is here to review. Scott?
Yes, thank you, President Dearborn. Good evening, trustees. The subject property here is located along the UP Union Pacific Railroad between Tower and Scott, which contains the existing train station. There are several zoning districts located as part of this in the R5, R3, and C2. The zoning ordinance does allow non-essential public uses in any zoning district within the village by special use. The comprehensive plan designates the subject property as appropriate for transportation, utilities, and communication uses. So the applicant's use of subject property as a railroad and train station is consistent with the comprehensive plan land use and the zoning. On your screen here, you see photos of the site taken in March. Center photo is of the existing depot that would be renovated. The photo on the right is the east elevation of the depot and some external components of the station. They're proposed for replacement. And then on the left is the photo of the pedestrian bridge, stairs to the train platform, and the windbreak shelters. Photos here, you can see an up-close image of the existing pedestrian bridge. There are currently 2 existing windbreaks, one on each side of the tracks. These would be removed, restored, and then reinstalled. And the image in the forefront is the existing stairs from Hubbard Place to the pedestrian bridge. As noted by the applicant, a priority of this project is to make the station compliant with the American with Disabilities Act. So it does include interior spaces for renovation, the entrances, pathways to the platforms, and proposed external improvements, including replacement of existing pedestrian bridge over the tracks, addition of elevators from the pedestrian bridge to the track level, ADA ramps on both the east and west sides for access to the new pedestrian bridge, replacement of staircases from the pedestrian bridge to the train level, replacement of the platforms, and addition of track level warming shelters. Additionally, would be replacement of the staircases from Scott Avenue to the platform, which are within the village of Glencoe, and landscape screening on the west end of Hubbard Place to help screen the pedestrian bridge and ramp. Proposed plan also calls for a slight relocation of the Green Bay Trail by approximately 10 to 13 feet to the east in order to provide clearance around the proposed new east elevator tower and warming shelters. These are sections showing the proposed improvements and provides a perspective on the elevator towers. As described by the applicant, due to the ongoing review by Union Pacific of the proposed improvements, Metra and its design team have identified options for the pedestrian bridge railing. The original option, option 1, is illustrated on the left, was designed to match the Elm Street Metro Station pedestrian bridge. However, UP's guidelines have changed since the Elm Street pedestrian bridge was renovated in 2004. Therefore, Metra is presenting 2 other options. Option 2, seen on the right, is similar in style to option 1, but the railing would be 6 feet in height rather than 42 inches. And then the third option is UP's standard that consists of an arch chain link fence over the tracks. The applicant has indicated that it will propose option 2 and request a variance from UP for this option. Both the DRB and ZBA were supportive of this option for a 6-foot-high railing. This is an excerpt of the landscape plan that shows the proposed landscaping on the west end of the Hubbard Place that's intended to screen and soften the view of the pedestrian bridge and ramp. The village forester has reviewed the proposed landscape plan and has indicated the shade and ornamental trees listed are acceptable to the village. All trees installed on village property, including the plantings on the west and the Hubbard Place, must meet certain standards and will be inspected by the village forester at planting. These are additional renderings provided by the applicant of the proposed improvements. And then these are showing elevator tower refinements. As it was initially, there was one option presented to the DRB. Following meetings in April and May, the applicant provided further refinement of design options from the elevator towers. So the options that are included on this slide are those that were reviewed by DRB, and the option that was recommended by DRB is option 3 alternate on the far right that is outlined in red. The goal of the changes and the refinement, as the applicant worked with the design review board, were to refine the window proportions for better balance, enhance or integrate the lintel to strengthen the opening, add to the depth or relief of the wall surface, and provide brick detailing. So with that, this plan was reviewed by 3 advisory bodies, all recommended unanimously for approval. The ZBA on May 12th, the Plan Commission on May 22nd, and following reviews in April and May, on June 19th, the DRB did recommend approval. So this evening, after hearing from the applicant, if needed, and the public, given that there were unanimous recommendations, the council may wish to either consider waiving introduction of ordinance M09-2025 and consider adoption, or consider only introduction this evening. As a couple notes on the ordinance does allow for 18 months until the start of construction instead of the typical 12 months because of the regulatory bodies that the applicant needs to go through to get approval and construct these improvements. And then it also, in the ordinance, contains an easement agreement that was drafted by the village attorney to allow the ramp and related improvements within the Hubbard Place right-of-way. That's Exhibit C of the ordinance. That concludes the staff presentation. I'm available for questions.
Okay, why don't we bring it up here for a moment. Would anyone like to ask questions of Scott?
Scott, is there going to be a refresh of the interior of the depot? I guess I didn't see much discussion or detail. I saw some photos of existing conditions.
Yes, there would be a renovation of the street level portion of the station, yes.
Okay, and I think we saw, and maybe the applicant can address this question, they're still showing a ticket office, and, is that really necessary? And, that whole thing. I mean, did we have much say about how the depot is refreshed? I mean, it's going to be really critical to get refreshed bathrooms, so that's a win, but I'm just curious.
The applicant may be able to speak better to the details of the interior renovation.
Okay, thank you.
Questions?
No, I had 2, but Scott answered them in his presentation.
Kurt? Bridget? Okay. At this point, we'll ask for, maybe the applicant could come up and make some comments about the project and get their thoughts.
Should I go first, Pat?
You can go first.
Hi, my name is Glenn Peters. I'm the Senior Director of Capital Projects for Metra.
I'm Roya Basrirat, Metra Project Manager.
Pat Davidson, T.Y. Lin, Civil Engineer, Project Manager.
Okay. Do you have any thoughts that you'd like to add to supplement what Scott Mangum presented?
Well, I'd just like to answer the one question about the ticket office that's still intact. This is a historic station, and through our conversation with the State Historic Preservation Office, they recommended that we keep the existing ticket office. So the perimeter of that ticket office will remain, but we are refreshing the bathrooms, so you're going to get new bathrooms, and the entire other spaces in the waiting area will be refreshed.
I might, Tina, you would.
So if, and I don't know, and maybe somebody from Winnetka can refresh my memory, if somebody came in and said, hey, I want to open a cafe there or something, how would that process work? I'm assuming they'd have to work through first Metra, or would it go to the village? And then will there be, I mean, I get it's a historic building, but it looks like a large portion of the interior is dedicated to, nobody has a ticket agent anymore. So is there any flexibility to adjust the parameters in the future?
Well, there are additional areas in the building where you could have a vendor space, but there's no reason why a vendor can't occupy the ticket office. We just can't remove the walls just because the walls are a part of the historic structure.
So Trustee Dahlman, after this project is approved and starts to move forward, we're going to be renewing the leases, not only for this station, but the other stations, primarily Elm. And in that lease, we'll be working on the build-out for a potential vendor to be in there.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Sure.
Questions for the applicant? No? One question I had is the process, as you envision this, typically we would have a 12-month timeline to begin construction and so on. Now we went to 18 months. What are the elements of this going forward in terms of additional approvals, and what do we think about the timeline?
So I am fully expecting to keep within the 12 months, but we didn't want to have to come back to the village council for additional time. Right now, we mentioned that there are additional steps that we need to take. One being, we've made some changes since we had the agreement of the State Historic Preservation Office. So we've got to show them the changes that we've made to the elevator tower. Right now, we are still, before we go back to the state, we're waiting to get the answer from the Union Pacific on the height of the fence. So we do have a variance request in for them. As you guys stated, there is a requirement, the UP standards is for this 8-foot high fence, and we're trying to get it to be that 42-inch high. We're waiting for their response now on that. Depending on the result of that response, so if it maintains the 42, then it's a shorter or a smaller lift to go back to the State Historic Preservation Office, because it will just be about the changes that we've made to the elevator tower. If we have to go with a higher fence, then that's going to be more of an impact in the view shed, and we're going to have to make sure that they understand why we have to have a higher fence than 42 inches.
I see.
And so once we get through those steps, so it's stacks, right? So we have to get the UP's concurrence first before we can go back to the state, and then we will make our case to the state that this is the final version of all of the elements on the site.
And that process starts soon?
It starts as soon as I get the Union Pacific's response on the fence.
I see.
And we've drafted a pretty compelling variance request, and we hope that they accept it.
Okay. And that, the current fence is, did you say 8 feet? It's 60 inches,
No,
correct?
the current fence is 42 inches.
But what we're approving tonight is higher than that.
You're approving the 6-foot fence. There are three variations of the fence. One is the existing height is 42 inches. The Union Pacific's standards says it should be an 8-foot fence. And we've installed 6-foot high fences otherwhere at other locations, and so we're hoping that they can fall back in between, but we're still fighting for it to be 42 inches. We think the 42-inch residential scale makes sense at this location.
Okay, but we're not approving the 8-foot fence.
You're approving the 6-foot, right?
Correct. Okay.
But we're still trying to get you back to the
The
42 inches.
Understood. And that's what the Elm Street pedestrian bridge is,
That's
42
correct.
inches. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Questions? Kirk?
I don't have a question, but I'll throw it in right now. I'm highly supportive of a 42-inch fence or rail. I think the 6-foot's going to feel, I don't know, like we're walking in a jail corridor or something of
well,
that sort.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's right. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
All for coming.
Now I would ask for public comment. Would anyone in the public like to speak to this agenda item? And if so, come on up. No? No public comment? Okay, we'll bring it back here. I think if we all read our minutes, there was a lot of time put in on this project by our subcommissions and boards, and particularly Design Review Board. I mean, they met 3 times. They went through a bunch of machinations. They met privately, I believe, with the applicant a couple a chairperson of the DRB and one other met with the applicant. And I think there was a feeling, and we appreciate that this is going to go forward, believe us on this, but there was a feeling like we just had to accept kind of what was here, including the 6-foot fence, because we want this project to move forward. And hopefully we'll get the 42 inches and, you know, maybe there's some supplemental landscaping down the road, who knows, by the village, but I think we just have to keep this moving along.
I was just going to say that this is one of those projects with an extremely long horizon.
I know. Yes.
I went
I
back,
see letters from 2008 in my packet.
yes,
I know.
and literally the first month on the job, this was a project that we had a special meeting on to try to move it forward, and it was originally it was a funding problem, and then it became working through UP. So it's great to see this come about, but it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess I would just like to thank Metra for your willingness to work with us, willingness to forward our variance request. I think, given the safety record at this particular location, as well as the historic nature that you're trying to preserve, we very much appreciate it. And I think it's going to, you know, I took the Metra a couple times in the last 3 or 4 days, even though I work in Schaumburg. Wow, what a great experience considering the traffic, and I think it's just going to enhance the user experience as well as the gateway. Yeah, obviously, we're appreciative because it enhances the gateway into our village, but I think it's really going to enhance the user rideability experience for Metra and hopefully continue to increase ridership for you. So thank you.
Okay. Trustee Myers, any thoughts before we move on?
Well, I'm in agreement with this. I would like to call out, though, a special thanks to our various commissions in terms of the time that they put in on this. And as you said, the design review really digging in and making some, some very positive recommendations and enhancements. So I think we owe them a gratitude for bringing this forward in such a quality state.
Yeah. This is a case where reading those minutes is invaluable. And Scott, I know you were at a lot of those meetings, as was Ann, and that's really, really helpful to get to this point. So thank you. You're right, Scott, for those commissions and boards. I think there's kind of a good feeling about this. Is there an appetite to waive introduction?
Oh, yeah, expedite.
Okay. So we're going to waive introduction, and do I have a motion to waive introduction of ordinance number M09-2025?
So moved.
Second.
It's a double second. That's a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. No nays? Okay. May I have a motion to adopt ordinance number M09-2025?
So moved.
Second?
And Rob, that is a roll call vote.
Trustee Dahlman,
Yes.
Trustee Albinson,
Yes.
Trustee Handler,
Yes.
Trustee Myers,
Yes.
Trustee Orsic.
Yes.
Okay. That moves along. Thank you all. Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you. Good luck on this project. We move on to item B, resolution number R62-2025, approving an employment agreement with Kristen Kazinas for the village manager of the Village of Winnetka. And this is up for adoption. And resolution number R63-2025, approving a first amendment to the employment agreement with Robert M. Behan, and this is also for adoption. Tonight, the council will consider an employment agreement with Deputy Manager Kristen Kazinas to appoint her as village manager effective October 1st, 2025, following Village Manager Rob Behan's announcement for retirement after 15 years of dedicated service. To ensure a seamless transition, council will consider a first amendment to his employment agreement. Our village attorney, Peter Friedman, who was instrumental in putting these agreements together, will present the key points of the agreements.
Thank you. The village president asked me to review as you said, the key operational and financial provisions of the agreements. I'll go first to the first on your agenda, which is the resolution for the village manager employment agreement with Kristen. That agreement takes effect now upon approval and provides that Kristen will take office as village manager on October 1st, 2025. The agreement provides that she will perform all of the duties of village manager as provided in the code and is assigned by the council. It's a standard employment at will contract agreement with standard termination for cause and no cause provisions, and severance provisions, I should say, where the village complied with the Illinois statutes on maximum amount of severance. Even though the village had its home rule authority to do more than that, the village remained compliant with the Illinois compiled statutes on that issue. Provides for a base salary of $260,000 with no salary adjustment until January 1 of 2027. Participation, again, in employment benefit programs, vacation, sick day, and personal days under the village code. Annual deferred compensation payment of $10,000. Annual performance evaluation provisions that incorporate annual goals and council review. Standard automobile allowance. And in accordance with the village code and the village's home rule powers, no residency requirement will be required at this time, and there is a review period provided in the agreement to ensure that the arrangement is beneficial for both the village and the new village manager. Review. You want me to do
Would
that
you like
now?
to review Rob's? Sure. Why don't you do
Sure.
that?
Rob's contract, Rob has an existing employment agreement as village manager, so this document is a First Amendment to that existing agreement. Under the First Amendment that you're under consideration tonight, he will remain as the village manager until October 1st and the handoff to Kristen. Then there's a transition period that begins from October 1 until approximately April of 2026. Rob's position during that transition period will be as Strategic Development Manager. September 17th will be his last official meeting as village manager. Starting in October, he will work from home, but will also be provided working space in the village as needed. He will be available on a full-time basis during the transition period to work on numerous matters set out in Section 4 of the amendment. Compensation will continue at its current amount during the transition period. Specific retirement benefits include 36 months of health insurance, payout of, accrued vacation and sick pay, and a one-time tax gross-up payment of approximately $80,000 to cover the tax liability created by the village's required forgiveness of the housing loan that the village provided to Rob, as set forth in the deferred compensation agreement that the village entered into with Rob in 2017. In exchange for those benefits, Rob will execute a full comprehensive standard release document for the village's benefit.
Okay, thank you, Peter. First, we'll ask council for any questions of Peter of these two agreements. Trustee Myers, any questions?
No question.
No questions? Public comment. Would anyone from the public like to comment on these agreements? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. We'll bring it back to council here for any comments and discussion, and it doesn't look like there are any comments or discussion items, so we'll just move. May I have a motion to adopt resolution number R62, 2025?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call.
That's a roll call vote.
Trustee Handler?
Yes.
Trustee Albinson?
Yes.
Trustee Orsic?
Yes.
Trustee Dahlman?
Yes.
Trustee Myers?
Yes.
Okay. And secondly, may I have a motion to adopt resolution number R63, 2025?
So moved.
Second?
And that's a roll call vote.
Trustee Orsic?
Yes.
Trustee Albinson?
Yes.
Trustee Handler?
Yes.
Trustee Myers?
Yes.
Trustee Dahlman?
Yes.
Okay, those resolutions passed. Thank you very much. We're very, have mixed feelings on all this. We're very excited about the future, and we're very melancholy about the past. So what can I say? Number 9, old business. We have no, oh, Kristen, would you like to make any comments? Because she just happens to have some comments. Off the cuff. By way of introduction, this is our future village president, Kristen Kazinas.
Manager.
Oh, village manager.
I'm not ready for that.
Come on over here. Come on over here. Yep.
So
Village manager, thank you.
I wanted to express my sincere appreciation to President Dearborn and the entire council for this opportunity. It truly is an honor to be your next village manager. Rob exemplifies the Winnetka way and has set such a high standard throughout his 15 years of dedicated service. And I'm committed to a smooth transition, maintaining those high standards, and continuing to move the village forward. Supported by this stellar team, thank you all for coming. I'm looking forward to working with all of you to serve this exceptional community, and I thank you so much for your trust and support.
Thank you, Chris.
Congratulations.
Okay. We'll move on. Item 9, old business, we have none. Item 10, new business, we have none. We have one appointment. I'd like to appoint Luisa Hernandez as a student representative to a full term on the Environmental, Forestry, and Sustainability Commission. Luisa's term will expire on August 31st, 2026. May I have a motion to approve the appointment?
So moved.
So moved.
Sorry.
Second.
Lots of so moves and seconds. May I have a voice vote? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, Luisa joins the EFSC, and she'll be a terrific contributor. Item 12, closed session, we have none. Item 13, adjournment. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
And that's a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 No opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.